So I just finished watching an interview with Stephen A. Smith and Andre Ward, and Ward is reacting to the Jake Paul fight. And of course, there's this rumor going around that Jake Paul and Andre Ward might fight. But I'm listening to Stephen A. Smith, and I'm sorry, but when it comes to boxing, he has some of the absolute worst takes. And he's not very well informed as a reporter. I remember one time he was interviewing Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson was trying to tell him, I'm a big fan of Monster Inoue, Nayo Inoue, and he's fighting Stephen Fulton Jr. soon. And I think Mike may have not said his name. I think he may have said, like, I'm a fan of the Japanese fighter who's fighting the Philadelphia fighter. And Stephen A. Smith didn't know who he was talking about, right? So one, he doesn't really know all the active boxers to begin with. Then on top of that, he brings up Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. And he basically says, well, why didn't you do what Tank did? Why didn't you get a rehydration clause? Why were you accepting the increase in weight? Why did you bet on him to miss weight or to come in at weight, should I say? And, why did you let him do this? And he said, this is my problem with Devin and Bill. And he said, I don't like the Teofimo fight for Devin. And he's hyping up Teo, Teo's right-hand power and all. I'm like, Stephen A., what are you talking about? And he never once, literally, I kid y'all not, he literally not once mentioned that Ryan tested positive for a banned substance. And to me, not only did he not mention it, he purposefully did not mention it. He literally went out of his way to not mention it. It was amazing because he had this laundry list of things and issues with the Haneys and why they failed to do this. Why did they let Ryan get big and strong? But he not once mentioned Ryan failed the test before and after the fight. And it makes you wonder, why would Stephen A. go out of his way not to mention that as a reporter? As a reporter, as someone who keeps the news, as someone who keeps the story. And you're sitting there with Andre Ward, and Andre Ward is talking about how he wants to control the narrative, right? That's why he is, inviting guys like Devin, like Mike Tyson to tell their own story because the media thinks they have things figured out. So Andre Ward is sitting up there saying all of that, and he's sitting across from Stephen A., who's in the media, who's one of the biggest voices in America, who's on ESPN. And then, I just wonder, like, maybe that's the exact reason you're on ESPN every day. Sure, you're entertaining. Sure, you can cover sports and talk sports. But there's a lot of people who can do that. But who's willing to, act as if certain things didn't happen? Whether you think that the PEDs or the banned substance help Ryan or not is irrelevant. It's factual to the story. That's just the bottom line of it. Just like if you talk about Mark McGwire's home run season and Sammy Sosa's home run season, you're going to mention that, hey, there was controversy around these stories. Or if you mention Lance Armstrong winning the Tour de France, you won't mention it without saying that he tested positive for a banned substance. You won't mention Ben Johnson's gold medal against Carl Lewis unless you mention that he tested positive for a banned substance. You won't mention Deflategate without mentioning that Tom Brady was, and the Patriots were punished somewhat for the controversy around the deflated balls, whether you thought it helped them or not. You won't mention Sean Payton and the Saints and why Sean Payton was suspended or Deflategate without mentioning that Sean Payton was suspended for Bountygate. That's what I meant to say, Bountygate, right? Or the Mets, I mean not the Mets or the Astros, the stealing signs or Spygate, where the Patriots were recording the other team's plays. That's just journalistically responsible. So it makes me think you're going out your way so that you can keep a seat at the table, which I understand. But it's funny how Stephen A likes to get on his high horse when he likes to get on his high horse. I follow Stephen A because I've been following him since, quite frankly, since he was wearing chopper suits, since he was kicked off the air, and he was never on First Take, right? I remember when he jumped on there, and I think that because he's become so synonymous with sports talk and he's become a face that he just kind of like say whatever. And then he went on to say that he asked Ward, what's the fight that you would like to see in boxing? What fight would you like to see in boxing? And Ward said, I don't know. I'm not really sure. And it seemed as if Ward could not even think of a fight that he really wanted to see in boxing. But Stephen A hollers out Crawford versus Charlo. Now, it's funny because a lot of the things that I hear these guys saying, it's almost as if they watch my channel. I hate to say it, but we know that Max Kellerman stole something that I said and put it on ESPN. We know that Dame Lillard has mentioned CHAMPSIDE on ESPN to Malika Andrews. So I'm sure they know how to find my channel. But on top of that, it's like, how do you come up with Charlo out of all of the names? That might be the most feasible fight. That might actually happen. Right? I've said that on my channel. But the fact that you just, in one hand, they want to praise Jake Paul and Tyson and talk about how many eyeballs it brought to boxing. Then you want to mention Charlo. Well, Charlo have not even been seen or heard from in almost a year. So it's ironic that he would pick that fight of all fights that he wants to see. Nobody mentioned Shakur versus Tank. I thought Ward was like, I thought Ward and Shakur was really tight. So if Tank is one of the biggest fighters in boxing and Shakur is an elite boxer and they are young and they are in that prime, I'm surprised neither Stephen A. Smith nor Andre Ward mentioned Tank versus Shakur. And I would assume why they wouldn't say Tank versus Devin or Shakur versus Devin, because Devin's coming off the Ryan fight. But, again, Stephen A., listen, bro, I don't want to call you certain words that we use in the black community because a lot of people already say that about you. But this is how you get that reputation, by saying, Ryan was big, strong, and he beat Devin. Well, if you're going to be a journalist, just like you cover the NBA, the NFL, and anything else, then why not keep it a buck? Ryan's win was vacated. He didn't win anything. You could say he won if he didn't test for the banned substance. So the fact that you went around saying and calling him out for testing positive a couple times for a banned substance, you went out of your way to not mention that fight was basically a no contest. You didn't even want to mention journalistically, factually, that it was a no contest. So again, what we really doing? That's what's journalistically accurate. That's what's factual. That Ryan's win was turned into a no contest because he tested positive for a banned substance. You didn't name either of those. Or the fact that he did not disclose, like he was supposed to, as the rules state, what he put in his body. He put a mystery substance in his body. But yet, Stephen A., if a man entered the ring against another man on a banned substance and killed that man, you would be on ESPN talking about how it's a travesty, yelling like you like to yell and being overly emotional. You would be on your podcast talking about how boxing is this and that, and that's what's wrong with boxing. We need to have all this safety in place. So again, I just think it's nasty work. And I commented that. I'm sure you saw it on your live feed that I said the same thing. So you're not gonna mention that Ryan tested positive for a ban substance. So, maybe he sees this. Maybe one of the athletes or the boxers or the trainers that see this, that know him and talk to him, maybe they'll send it to him. But again, this is way out of pocket, and it made you look crazy. So let me know what y'all think. If y'all saw it, if you didn't see it, go watch it. Go listen to his own words. I didn't really want to use his words because, again, I wanted this to be my report on his article or his piece. This is my reaction to it, right? So let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's the baddest brand in the land, CHAMPSIDE. Peace.